buying your property in Spain. Okay, I'll just give you a little bit of information about myself. So I've been living out here now for 3 years in Spain. I'm semi-retired. I've got a couple more years yet before I get my state pension. So at the moment I'm living off my private pensions. I'm living on an urbanisation called Camposol. It's a huge complex. To me it's like a town, to be honest. We've got shops, banks, everything here. The nearest town is Mazarrón. We're on the southeast of Spain, Costa Cálida, the Murcia Region. We've got two main airports, one at Alicante, which is the big airport, and we've got a new one just opened up called the Murcia International Airport. As far as we know, as we call it here, we call it Corvera Airport, but I think if you're booking for a flight, it's going to come up as Murcia International Airport. So just remember that, guys, if you're thinking about coming out, especially out to this area anyway. Now this video is not aimed at the younger generation. That sounds bad, doesn't it? But if you're a young person and you've got a young family, kids and whatever, and you're looking for a job or you're looking for a mortgage, this is not the video for you guys. I can tell you straight away. This is more aimed at the person of my age, is in my 60s or 55s, thinking about retiring, thinking about moving out to Spain. This video is aimed at you guys and nobody else. So just thought I'd let you know. Well, this is my third video on buying a property in Spain. Is it easy? And this is the last one. This is actually buying a property. Hopefully you see my last two videos. One was research and the other one was cost and budget. And now we're talking buying your property. I just want to make this clear right from the beginning that I've got no legal qualifications. So don't take everything that I say for granted, because depending on where you go in Spain, they might do things slightly different. But what I will say is, always seek legal advice before you sign anything or put any money down on anything. Always seek legal advice. Your estate agent is going to become your best friend. And I take it that you're going to use an estate agent and not somebody you met in a bar, because the British Embassy, the Foreign Office I should say, has got a list that you can go on to be wary of. Because one of the other things you've got to be wary of, guys, the place that I'm at now, back in 2007, this was going to be a golf resort. It was aimed at the UK market. They had obviously gone back to the UK. They'd done the brochures, they'd done the video. They were selling the dream to expats there. They managed to sell most of these properties with a deposit of 51,000 euros on the basis that the bank would secure their money if it collapsed. Well, it did. In 2009, the company collapsed. They hadn't paid the builders. It's a bit hard to see, but you can just see what the builders, they just dropped everything and they just left because it hadn't been paid. They owe 120 million, I believe. The people that paid their deposits of 51,000 have not got their money yet. They're still fighting that. I believe the mayor is in court still, trying to fight his case. This place will never be finished. I don't even think it was supposed to be built here anyway. And another thing about buying off plan is, usually wherever you go around the world, before they build anything, they always put the infrastructure in. Well, this place they didn't. There's no road, there's no pavements, there's no street lights. So if these people had come out here, they might have been a bit worried then. As you come into the complex, they've done a nice long drive. That's got street lights, and I believe they built 3 units, which squatters are living in now. Maybe they use that, I don't know. But honestly, guys, if you're thinking about buying anything, wherever, always seek legal advice and make sure that that company's not just started up over the week or whatever. And unfortunately, that practice still goes on here in Spain. I'm watching a place, they've just been given the go-ahead up to Torrevieja. They're building 1,200 homes, I believe, on a protected area. There's another place I'm watching that's building retirement homes, same sort of thing. They give you the, they promise you everything. There'd be a beauty clinic and things like that. They got this habit of building these places never finishing them, you're left in a place that's got nothing there, all by yourself. Well, in this case, nobody's living there. So just be so wary of that. So that it's, in one sense, it's probably better to buy a second-hand home than it is to buy a brand new home. But that's up to you. That's your decision. So you come out to Spain. You found your location that you want to go. Hopefully you're also renting, because you've got to be so sure that that's the area you want to be. I rented for 3 months. I didn't make the 3 months. Some people advise between 3 to 6 months, just to make sure that you're fully settled in, and then come out to the estate agent. But in the meantime, you can still go out to the estate agents and see what's on offer, see what the property is like, because sometimes you have an image, you want a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom, and after you see the property, it might be big, it might be small, so it might vary. So go out with the estate agent, get to know the estate agents. If the estate agent comes out of you and he stands in the background and he doesn't say anything, or you ask him a question, because you're going to ask him a lot of questions, and he doesn't know what they are, or he can't answer them, or he said, oh, okay, I'll ring the office when they never do, just go back to the office, go out with somebody else, or go with another agent. Those estate agents should know their job, because there's a lot of things that you're going to need to know. And one of those things is when you walk into a property, just scan it over. Cracks. As far as I'm concerned, if I see a crack and they've covered it up, or I walk in and the floor tile's loose, I won't touch it. Because if it's like that, okay, maybe it has been fixed. You've got to call in a structural surveyor, which is going to cost you a lot of money in some cases, and it's still not even come up with that. That's a problem with a surveyor. I mean, I don't know the names for it, but you've got to be, I mean, I didn't bother. Thankfully, that's the risk that you take, I suppose. But to me, I looked at my property all over, I couldn't see no cracks in that, so I didn't bother a surveyor. Now, me saying that to you, probably for you, it's a good idea to use a surveyor, but what I'm saying is when you go into a property and it's got a crack right down the middle, it's got a crack across the ceiling, I wouldn't touch it. What you got to remember, guys, in Spain gets earthquakes, and they can get some quite severe ones. I can't really show you these, but all these properties are built on stilts. So some of them will actually have basements. Now you can, on some of them, dig down into the basement and use that as a room, but usually it's because they're off the ground, because it's not just because of the earthquakes. And when I say earthquakes, since I've been out, I've felt 5, and all it is, it's like a truck going by and it's been rumbling. But I know in some areas they've had some bad ones, so just be aware of that. Ask the estate agent, are you on a earthquake, whatever. I don't want to put you off. The other thing is, the reason why they're raised off the ground is because of the rains. Now, obviously we get normal rain, but we can get some really heavy rain. They call it a gutter freer. Now, usually that happens just after the summer. When it rains, it rains. The rain comes down and it doesn't get time to soak into the ground. It just washes off. So anything that's in its way will just, watch the video, just put in gutter freer and you watch the videos. There's nothing that can stop it. And the problem is with these rains, they just happen in pockets. You might get a bad storm for 1 year, and then about 20 years later you get nothing like that. So that's another reason why these houses are built off the ground. So just make sure when you're walking around, you see even these properties have got steps going up into them. So just be aware of that. What else can we talk about? I think the other thing is when you're walking around the property itself, just check. A lot of these properties in Spain do come fully furnished, which is a bonus. One of the things I didn't really think about, and wish I'd done it with my wife, because we bought over a shipping container of stuff, and I reckon we could have got away half of it. But just bear that in mind as well. So when you're here for the free, for the 3 or the 6 months, you're checking property, just ask them and make sure do they mean everything? Because they might say it's fully furnished, and when you come to move in, they've moved half of it out. So just make sure of that as well. The other thing is, like I've always gone on about, is heating. If the property's got heating in there already, that's a bonus. If it's got air conditioning with the whirly, I'm not about that's it. If it's got air conditioning, that's a bonus as well. If it's got the whirly fans, they don't cost much. That's not so much a bonus. But if you haven't got air conditioning, they haven't got heating, and I don't care what people say, north or south of Spain, especially up in the mountains, it gets cold. So if they haven't, use that as a bargaining point, because it's going to cost you a lot of money. The other thing is, obviously, depending on your lifestyle you want to be, if it's going to be a holiday home, you're not probably going to be too worried about a swimming pool. You might do. But if you're going to live here permanently, the same as me, I'm not a great lover of water. My wife loves swimming all the time, and I wasn't very keen on it. And when we was looking around, I didn't really want a swimming pool. But when we saw properties that didn't have a swimming pool, they didn't look appealing. But if you had a swimming pool, and that's a bonus. So another thing to think about, if you do get a property that's got a fair-sized garden, and it might even imply actually on the sale thing that a swimming pool could be fitted, but you've got to remember it's going to cost you 10 to 15 grand to put one in, so use that as a bargaining point as well. When we was trying to tour the area, I don't know what it is with estate agents, I've talked to a few and they've even admitted it. We sent emails to estate agents to booking appointments and they never seem to reply to them. Why? All they tell me is they get a lot of time wasters, but to me that's losing the sale. But that seems to be an attitude. I don't know if that's true. So if any estate agents are out there saying no, we always reply, then that's good, because when we first came into Spain we had a huge file, an A4 file of leaflets, a property that we wanted to look at, and every time we try to contact a estate agent, we got nothing. And in the end we had to literally go into an estate agent and walk in and book it then, which was a bit annoying because we was travelling around Spain and we didn't have a great amount of time, because you go into an estate agent, you might be lucky and go out straight away, but usually you have to wait the next day, obviously, to give the people that own the place time to tidy it up or make sure that somebody's there, get the keys. So that has been a bit annoying. So just bear that in mind as well. If you are travelling about, or you're actually renting somewhere and you want to view a place, you're going to need to go actually into the office, and that can be a bit nerving, I know, because once you go into an office, obviously they're going to pounce on you and they're going to ask you straight away what you're after, what you want, and sometimes that can be a bit undecided because you don't know really what you want. If it's a 2 to 3, place with a pool, place without, yeah, but you've got to go in there. Like I said before, that estate agent's going to be your friend end of the day. So you've done all that, you've gone around with a estate agent, you found a estate agent that's really friendly, is giving you a lot of information, because depending on your circumstances, be it health or transport, where we live, I would recommend you've got to have transport. Unfortunately, I can say you can rely on the bus services. So you need a car, so you probably need to ask the agent about getting a Spanish car or changing your car over to left-hand drive, things like that. Keep asking the estate agent. He's going to be your friend, and make sure that you're happy with him, because if one of you is not happy with him, then he ain't going to get on, are you? You've got to make sure both of you, especially if it's a couple, happy with that agent. I mean, they should be, you know, pretty savvy, and end of the day they want to sell a property, and hopefully, as far as I know, I haven't met any pushy ones yet. I went with 3 or 4 estate agents and we just hit it off with one of them and we had a good sale. Now, I'm not going to go into what actually happens to after the sale, because that's all the legal stuff. when we actually found our property, I was amazed how quick that we moved in. We moved in within a month. I mean, the other thing is as well, guys, if you are coming over to Spain, you do need to have your money there, really. There's no point in thinking, I'll put my house in the market, it'll sell like that. That doesn't happen, unfortunately. It might do, but usually it don't. It will take a lot longer than you think, and it just causes complications, because here in Spain, now some people told me you've got once you paid your you put a holding fee down first, and then you put your main deposit. You've got to pay that within 2 to 3 weeks, and then obviously then you'll transfer the money over. So I was always told you want to get that money done within the month. Now, depending on the seller, they might come to an arrangement, but you've got to make sure that they've come to an arrangement and it's all in paperwork and signed for. Some people told me it can be up to 3 months. And I believe the deposit is about 10%. Like I said before, I've got no qualifications on agency work and that, so that could differ from province to province. So just be aware of that, because if things don't go right, if for some reason it just drags on, the person that's selling the place will just say, well, we're going to use somebody else. And if it's 10% deposit, you lost it. That's the only thing that I didn't like. You have to be wary of in Spain. My folks done the same sort of thing. They were promised the earth that their property would sell. They was moving to another property. It took longer than they thought. It went over the month, and they lost their deposit. My dad lost 7 grand, which is a lot of money. You know, it's not something you can keep throwing about, and then to go through the whole process again. So just bear that in mind. Obviously, the other thing is make sure that you do get a good lawyer. The obviously most of the estate agents will be in with with solicitors, lawyers, money transfers, obviously because they're on a commission anyway. But usually, I mean, they're all right. I mean, it's up to you if you want to fish around on the internet for a place, a lawyer, I should say. But that's your choice as well. I mean, we just took the package deal, really. You know, we used the same lawyers the agent responded to. Obviously, the money transfer company that he recommended. Now, over the years, we changed our money exchanger for somebody else, because this is something else you've got to set up as well. When you're in the first process of it all, especially when you're living in Spain, you're going to need an NIE number. That'd be the first thing. Now, the agent can set that up with you. Some people have been saying it can take months. Usually, I was amazed by that when somebody said that to me, but to me, it can take a couple of days. But anyway, you need your NIE number, because you're going to need that first before you even open up a Spanish bank account. Then you're obviously going to need a Spanish bank account. You're going to you might need a padron, because you might need to buy a car. Now, some people told me they couldn't buy a car without a padron. Now, we didn't have a padron at the time. So this is where, by searching and researching as well, depending on where you are, things are slightly different. I don't want to go into things like residency and things like that. That'll be in another video coming in the year. I hope it's been in some interest. I've probably missed out loads of stuff because it's such a big thing. Because sometimes you can walk around a property and this is the other thing, guys. You will walk around a property, you fall in love with it, and you think, wow. They show you another one, you fall in love with that property, you go, wow. So take your time, don't rush, don't get pushed into something you don't really want or not sure, or even worse, if you don't take the advice and not renting, and you come over on a long weekend because of work commitments and whatever else, don't do anything in a hurry. Always seek legal advice first, because it could become an expensive thing, especially this place. You know, what a waste, what a waste. But anyway, hope that's helped. And obviously I get a lot of people put comments down below with more advice as well, so please read that as well, because the more the comments the better, really. I don't know everything, and I probably missed out some major things. I'm sorry if I have. But I'd like people are interested. And anyway, as I always say, keep watching. You never know what I'm going to bring out next. And I'll catch you on the next video.